5 hours to reach this ranger outpost that we spoke about on the edge of the desert. And our guide told the military escort that we were going to the monastery to pray, no other reason. And we bribed the officer to let us go on our own. In any case, they couldn't go out into the desert. But they said that we have to go with one of the rangers, who was like a police sort of a ranger, who would take us out and show us the way to get to this monastery, because we couldn't get there. There was no roads. There was nothing.
Well, plus they don't want like the incident of you going out there, getting stuck in a sand dune, and them having to go rescue you. They just figured they'll send one of the guys with you.
Exactly. So the rangers come with us. It took about 2.5 hours or a couple of hours to get there, because one of our vehicles, even with a ranger in it, got stuck in the sand. We actually got stuck. I was a bit nervous. I thought, wow, how long are we going to get stuck here for? But fortunately, before we left, I suggested we buy some ropes in case one of us gets stuck so the other vehicle can pull him out. And luckily we did, because we could pull him out. One of the drivers, one of the guys, that's the guy from the Switzerland, he was a very good driver. He'd done a lot of driving on the sand, so he knew how to drive. But the other guy from Wales, he was good, but he wasn't that good. We got stuck. Anyhow, just unfortunate. But we arrived in the monks' caves by about nightfall. It was just getting dark, actually. And after showing him the slip of paper, one of the monks, he accepted us, and he showed it to the father there, and we all went into one of the chapels, which was cut into the rock in the big cave. Well, not that big, but the cave. And we stayed there for their prayers. It was all in Arabic. We couldn't understand it, but we did our own prayers when we were in there. And afterwards, we told them a little about what we're doing. And, I mean, we could trust the monks, and we could tell them what we're doing and why we were there. And we pointed out where we wanted to go. That's in the westerly direction from where the cave was. And we were surprised when they said that they always knew there was something spiritual out in that direction, but they never had the facilities to go out there. And I said, what do you mean something spiritual? They said, well, we came out to this area because we know there's something here, something spiritual to make us come to open up our monastery. Well, a few hundred years ago, they were told that there's something out there. This is why we've got to build the monastery out this area.
Wow.
So we were offered the large cave to sleep in. We all slept in a big cave. When you think of the cave, it's just like a big room. It was all well done. There was beds there, and beds were made out of stone with mattresses on top and stuff like that there. There was no lighting in there, so we had candles and everything were there. But fortunately, where these monks were, they had an actual toilet and water system. They had to actually carry their water up from an oasis, which was about a mile away. They had to truck it up every day because they never had water where they were. Right. They showed us a cave nearby where they were erecting a chapel. They found a cave. This was quite interesting. What they did, they found a large cave out in the desert. One of the monks found it near where they were, about half a mile away, and it had a very low ceiling. And a miracle happened because they thought it'd make a nice chapel for them, but the ceiling was too low. But when they went back about a month later to inspect it again, they found that a miracle happened, that the ceiling collapsed. And they dug it all out, and they found that after digging it all out, it took them quite a few months, and they've got about 35 monks who were in this monastery. They dug it all out, and they found that the ceiling was then about 12 feet high. It was like a miracle happened. It was just cool. Anyway, the following day, we went out to the direction to where we thought the hill would be, and after a couple of hours, we encountered a sandstorm. We get a sandstorm out in the desert. You don't know what can happen.
Right. You better head for the cave if that happens.
We're trying to head back home because the next day we had to go back to Cairo because one of the guy's girlfriend, we had to meet him in Cairo, and we were already a few days overdue because we went to the wrong monastery the first day. So we thought we'd start heading back to the caves. But before we left, we clambered 30 foot, that was quite hard, of a huge sand dune, because we'd stopped in front of this big sand dune, and to go around it would have been a long way, so we thought, let's get to the top and see what the terrain looked like from the top. And when we got to the top, through binoculars, we were able to glimpse a pyramid-shaped hill way out in the distance. It was way out, probably about, maybe about 8-9 miles away. So we planned on going back to Egypt the next year. We thought, we'll go back next year and see if we know where we got to go and everything else, and hopefully the weather will be good, and we'll spend more time there. But unfortunately, well, it wasn't unfortunate, 2 of the group that went with us, a couple of months later, went back without telling me, as I presume they wanted to find the Ark for their own purposes. And they never even told me they're going to go out there.
Right, they just made their own plans, but didn't
made their
include...
own plans, and they just went off on their own. I found this out afterwards, and I was upset at the time, but however, they were unable to get to that hill. They couldn't get there.
Okay, so you found out that they didn't make it.
That they couldn't make it, and since then, well, a year or so later, one of them died, and the other went out again, and he still couldn't find it.
Wow.
No doubt they're not meant to find the hill, or possibly to find the Ark.
Or the cave, for that matter.